before you this morning. Pray that you would meet us here, God, where we are at, right where we're at, as only you can do. Hear the word rolling as thunder, with a new future to tell. For the dry season is over, there is a cloud again. Oh, it's beginning to swell now. The sky, heavy blessing. Lift your eyes, offer your heart. Jesus Christ, He opened the heavens. Now we receive the Spirit of God. Anticipation, we await promise to come. Everything that you spoken will come to pass. Sing it out. Let me
it's a new song. It's very creative, it's very beautiful. So I want you to just meditate on the lyrics in this song and let it just settle in. It talks about the vastness of our God, how He created the mountains and the galaxies, but yet it brings it back down to the simplicity that He died for one. He died for one. He died for all. But He loves the one, you. So let's say this.
Stars are made to worship so
to your love. You're the one who never leaves the one behind. You're the one who never leaves the one behind. Come on, sing that out. You're the one who never leaves the one behind. You're the one who never leaves the one behind. You do it again. You do it again for just one.
Let's give him praise. It's the sweetest thing to be in the presence of the Lord, isn't it? You can be seated. As we ask our ushers to be ready to come down so we can receive our offering, I wanted to tell you that when the Lord's presence is present, when we dwell in Him, that's also when we get to choose to obey Him and act on His behalf in the world. And you guys did that. A couple of weeks ago, we said we're going to take an offering for the families who are in Houston who experienced Hurricane Harvey. And that offering, I'm here to tell you today, was $24,318. We then said we're not just going to send money, we're also going to send people, part of our family. So 11 people led by Lupita Hernandez headed down to Houston. They mucked out houses. They spent time with families, understanding their pain and telling them they weren't alone. And then on the last day, one of their team members actually accepted Christ as their Savior and Lord. Amazing. And this video is a scene from last Sunday where they were celebrating at Faith Assembly. Let's watch.
Well, good morning, Pure Heart Church. It's so great to be with you. We're here live in service. We have Lupita, your Global Outreach Director, and of course our church family. And we just want to, absolutely. We just want to say thank you so much for your investment in our church family. You saw the need that Houston was under, and you responded. And not only financially, and I haven't even told the church family yet, but Pure Heart raised $10,000 and sent it as a conduit for us getting there. So we just want to say thank you to you, and thank you for sending the team. Awesome team, by the way. They're amazing people. You should hire them all if you're able to. But thank you so much for your love, your generosity. We could not do it without you. Of course, we're part of the general family of God, but with Pure Heart, you guys are now a sister church, and we can't believe your investment in our lives. So thank you so much. The Lord bless you. Amen. Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys. Let's pray. Father, we are so full of gratitude that out of your heart we were able to participate in serving our family in Houston. So as we give our offerings again today, Lord, may you use them for your glory throughout the country, the world, and right here in Phoenix. We pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Thanks for visiting Pure Heart Church. If you are new, please fill out the guest card attached to your bulletin and bring it to the Information Center in the lobby. We would love to connect with you and help you explore the exciting things available to you and your family. Pure Heart is a place where you are encouraged to come authentically as you are, experience healing and growth, and discover meaning and purpose through a relationship with Jesus Christ. Pure Heart is a family of Christ followers committed to making disciples who love God and love others. We connect with God through worship, salvation, baptism, and communion. We want to help you grow with others in the family of God through personal, relational, and intentional discipleship. This happens through discipleship coaching, life together groups, classes, and healing and support ministries. We are a community that values transparency, vulnerability, and relationships. In our shared connection and love for Christ, we go out into the greater community and the world to make real change. Will you join us? At Pure Heart, we desire to see children and students develop lifelong faith through connecting in small groups, partnering with parents, and giving opportunities to serve others. To get connected, please stop by the Information Center in the lobby or visit us online at pureheart.org.
So not all of us can go to Houston, right? But there is something that we can all do. And that's called PH Community Day next Saturday. We're loving on a whole bunch of schools. Did you know in the schools that Pure Heart serves that there are homeless families with kids there, refugees, foster kids, kids who are hungry, kids who are struggling with parents who have drug addictions? Every kind of issue is there, and they're all there in the school. So when we go get to love them, we get to show them that we care, and then they come to our church. They come to our food pantry, they come to our resource center, they come to get counseling, support groups, and then we also get to share Jesus with them, and they become part of our family. So we want to invite all of you to participate in that. We need 100 more volunteers today to make next weekend awesome. And the way you're going to do that is either click on the web banner that says PH Community. You can sign up right there. Or we have an amazing team in orange shirts out on the patio. Would love to help you to connect to one of those projects. We also have an awesome discipleship experience starting. It's called Move the Journey. It's for folks who are new to Christ or people who just want to kind of get their foundation in their faith. We'll be starting one class on October 11th. That's a Wednesday night at 7 p.m. And we're also going to be having one start on October 29th. That's Sundays at 8:30. This is an incredible opportunity to join others who want to follow Jesus and have their lives transformed. To participate, go onto our website, click on the calendar, and then type in the journey. And both of those times and options will show up. Hey guys, it's so good to be together, isn't it? Have a great service.
Trust inside the jungles of this life. I'm asking, which way do I go? In some directions, babe, solid ground is all I need. Won't you tell me which way do I go?
Oh, good morning, Pure Heart. How you doing this morning? You doing good? It's great to see all of you today. Welcome to our online family, especially Crossroads Recovery. We love you guys. Give them a big hand today. So, come on. Well, my son Luke and my son Josh, they are now driving, and so my auto insurance is much more expensive than my autos. And so the other day, Luke works at Chick-fil-A, which is really helping the budget because they feed him for free when he works, so we ask him to work a lot. And so it's going really well. He loves it. But he was going to get off late on Labor Day weekend, and he wouldn't be able to get up to Prescott where we were staying at the United Christian Youth Camp until later in the evening, about 11 o'clock. And so I said, Luke, here's the deal. Road trip, buddy. First time in your life, you get to drive all the way to Prescott by yourself. But I need you to check in with me all the time, okay? He's like, Dad, I'm not a baby. I'm like, yes, you are. No, I want you to drive up and have a great time. I need you to check in with me. He's like, Dad, I got Siri. I'm like, seriously? Come on, come on. I said, he goes, I got GPS. I'm like, let's just do a test. How many of you have had GPS take you to the wrong place? Can I get a witness from anybody in the room? All right? So I'm like, no. You need to check in with me. So about the time he knew he was off work and on the road, I'm like, hey, how's it going? He's like, doing good, Dad. Just leave me alone. I got this. I'm like, son, there's a drop point, and when you go through the mountains, you're going to lose service. You may drop out. You're going to be lost. I'm like, no, I'm not. Okay. All right. And so about 40 minutes later, I get this call from Luke. Call every father loves. And he goes, Dad, I'm in the middle of nowhere and I don't know where I am. And I said, repeat after me, son. Dad, you were right, okay? So he got him back on the road, he got to the camp, he had a speeding ticket, but he got to the camp, and we're dealing with that, yeah, praise the Lord. All right. And so, but my boys have this issue sometimes, they don't realize how much I know. And I just want them to know I know a lot of stuff, okay? And so Josh was going through a stage with his hair, and I saw this video the other day, and I made a video of Josh. We made an agreement on video. It's like 1.5 years old, but I've kept it, and I'll keep it forever, all right? And so I kept telling Josh, you gotta do something, man, with the mop. You gotta clean that up. And he's like, Dad, it's cool, I'm doing a new thing. I'm like, no, you're not doing a new thing. And he's like, yeah, I am, everybody loves it. I'm like, ooh, okay. And so finally he got his hair cut. He's like, Dad, I need my hair cut. I'm like, really? Oh, praise God. So we go get his hair cut, and we're in the car, and he looks at me and goes, man, it looks a lot better than it did before. And I'm like, really? All right. So we made this video right here.
Dad, you were right. I like my hair. It looks better than it was. Really. And in the future, I will listen to you. And in the future, I will listen to you.
You got it on video, all right? In the future, I will always listen to my father. Okay. Well, I've got a question for you today. A question we all ask when life seems to crash down around us. When we don't know which way we are to go and everything seems to be upside down, we all ask this question. What do you do when there's nothing you can do? Well, what do you do when you can't get into the school you want to get into or the class you want to get into? What do you do when there is no way your fantasy football team will ever win again? Okay? What do you do when your Rams are in first place? What do you do in that moment when your football team is in first place, which has not happened in a long time? What do you do when you know they will not stay in first place? What do you do in that moment? All right? What do you do when the report from the doctor is cancer? What do you do when they say we're going to have you go home and make you comfortable, and there's nothing that we can do. What do you do in the marriage when the honeymoon is over and he won't change and she isn't willing to listen? There just seems to be no way. It's in these moments that we make some powerful determinations in our hearts. Here's 3 things that we begin to say. See if you can relate to this. The first thing is we say, I'll never be happy again. There's just no way I'll ever be happy again. Another one, this one is even tougher, that we say to ourselves, nothing good can come from this. I mean, God, there's just no good you can bring out of this. And the last thing we want is that Christian friend saying, all things work together for good. And then the third one that we wrestle with is that there's just no point in continuing. It's just time to quit. It's time to give up. There's no reason to keep taking care of my body. There's no reason to stay in this relationship. There's no reason to continue to be generous. It's just not worth moving forward. And so today I want to look at 3 moments in the New Testament. And then we're going to look at one verse in the Old Testament. So we're going to be in our Bibles. How many are excited about that this morning? Come on. So get out your Bible. John chapter 15 and verse 1. It's the story of Jesus talking to his disciples about what they should do when life doesn't make sense. He's just told them, we talked about this in week 1 of this series, he's just told them that he is leaving. There's nothing they can do about it. He's going to a place that they can't go with him right now. But he's going to come back for them. They're very, very, very confused. He's talking about death and crucifixion and all these things. And there's just nothing they can do. And in John chapter 15 and verse 1, Jesus tells them the secret on which way to go when you don't know which way to go. How many are ready for that today? How many need to know that today? He says to them, he tells them this story. I am the true vine, and my Father is the gardener. Here comes this parable. He cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit, while every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes so that it will be even more fruitful. Now he gives them the key. Now he gives them the key of what you do when there seems to be no way to go. And this is what he says. It's so beautiful and so simple and so difficult at the same time. Everybody say the first word with me. Remain. He says, remain in me as I also remain in you. He says, disciples, lean in. When life doesn't make sense, when all the stuff is going to come down, I'm going to be arrested, Peter's going to deny me 3 times. When all of these things start to happen, guys, you need to remain in me. You don't hit the ejection button at that point. And he goes on, he tells them why. They had to be going, well, why? What do you mean? And what's that going to look like? And this is what he says. No branch can bear fruit by itself. It must remain in the vine. Neither can you bear fruit unless you remain in me. And family, when is this the hardest for us to do? This is the hardest for us to do when life makes no sense. When what we thought Jesus promised isn't being fulfilled. That's when it's the hardest for us to hold on to Jesus when life doesn't make sense. And Mike Tyson, the great boxer, or the most interesting boxer, I should say it that way, Mike Tyson had a great quote. He said this, everybody has a game plan until you get punched in the face. Turn to your neighbor and go, that's deep right there, all right? You ever thought you'd hear Mike Tyson quoted in church, all right? Everybody's got a game plan until you get jacked in the jaw by life. Because once you get jacked in the jaw by life, all of those things you thought you knew get rocked to its core. And everybody thinks they know what to do and where to go and how to live until life gets really turbulent. We have an amazing saint in our church. Her name is Sandy. And Sandy's been walking with the Lord in a deep way, but she came to Pure Heart in a very broken place. The world had fallen down around her. She was in need of great healing, and God brought her to us. Here's the first part of her story.
My story begins 10 years ago. I had what I thought was a wonderful life and a wonderful relationship with God. I thought that everything was good and that my life was going in all the right directions. Unfortunately, on May 2nd, 2007, my son was killed in a car accident, was hit by a gentleman going at the rate of 90 to 100 miles an hour. Firefighters intubated him and got him to the hospital. At that time, I just couldn't accept God because I didn't feel that he was there for me. He didn't listen the night that Josh was in the hospital. And I wanted him to live so bad. I didn't understand why other people could live, but Josh could not. And it was so hard to try to explain to over 200 students that came to the hospital to say their goodbyes that Josh wasn't going to make it. And I just kept asking God, why are you not hearing my prayers? And how does something like this happen to a young man that was going to be able to give a lot of life and love in this world? And going through great loss of losing a child when you weren't ready was a tremendous feat to try to get up on my feet, and I never cried out to God. One of the next broken experiences is going through the court process with the young man that killed Joshua. That was harder than seems like somewhat the day of the accident, because the young man didn't seem remorseful at all. And we went through the court process. The young man got 4.85 years in prison. I was going to write to him to forgive him. I still have that brokenness about myself, is to learn how to forgive. Then my next loss, and great loss in my life, was a brokenness of a marriage that my husband of 34 years stepped out of the marriage and broke my heart. I thought that I was going to be married all my life, to all of a sudden have that world change and come crumbling down. It was very, very difficult. Divorce was losing a partner, a person that you thought that you would always have there. One of the things that I said as a partner to my husband was that, he's the only one that understands losing my son. That he's the only other person that understands. And that part goes away with divorce.
What do you do when you see that there's nowhere to turn? What do you do when you just don't know what to do? Great answer. We're going to get there. Don't jump ahead. Acts chapter 16 and verse 16. Acts chapter 16 and verse 16. I want to share with you a story about Paul and Silas. I want to show you a moment in their life and what they ended up doing in making a choice in the midst of their pain. Once when they were going to the place of prayer, we were met by a female slave who had a spirit by which she predicted the future. She earned a great deal of money for her owners by fortune telling. She followed Paul and the rest of us shouting. Now watch what she shouted. "These men are servants of the Most High God, who are telling you the way to be saved." And don't forget that part right there. Who are telling you the way to be saved. Let me just ask you this question. Have you ever tried to be nice to somebody who just drove you nuts? Just don't look at me. Don't look around, all right? Have you ever tried to be nice to somebody who just got on your nerves, all right? Verse 18, here's what happens. It says, "She kept this up for a few hours." No, she keeps doing this for days. I mean, for many days, she keeps shouting and screaming behind them. And finally, Paul became so blessed in the Lord. Finally, Paul became so righteous. Finally, Paul became so... No, Paul was annoyed. How many of you know that God can use any emotion? Can I get an amen? All right? So Paul's just like, enough is enough. And that he turned around and he said to the Spirit, "In the name of Jesus Christ, I command you to come out of her." At that moment, the Spirit left her. She is set free spiritually. Now, I don't suggest doing this with that guy at work that loves you. I mean, don't be in a meeting and like, "Come out!" in a conversation with your spouse and you're not happy with what's going on. But if there comes a moment, I'm telling you, there comes a moment when you do sense and you do feel God leading you, then in Jesus' name, things happen. Can I get an amen? And so he just says, in Jesus' name, come out of her. And now the owners of this girl are really upset. Their ability to make money is gone. They don't know what they are going to do. And so they take Paul and Silas to the magistrates. And here's what happens in verse 22. It says, "The crowd joined in the attack against Paul and Silas, and the magistrates ordered them to be stripped and beaten with rods. After they had been severely flogged, they were thrown into the prison. And the jailer was commanded to guard them carefully. And if he didn't, if they escaped, it was punishable by death, and the jailer knew that. When he received these orders, he put them in the inner cell, right in the middle of everybody in the prison. And he fastened their feet in the stocks. So now they're bleeding, they're bruised, every fiber, every nerve in their body is screaming in pain. And now they're in the center of this jail, and they are locked down in stocks, as if they could go anywhere anyway at that point. And so here's this moment There's nothing they can do. God, where are you? How did this happen? How in the world is this going to bring you any glory at all? God, we didn't sign up for this. I am in the middle of nowhere, and I don't know which way to go. So what are they going to do? Let me ask you this. I've asked it in every service. It's fascinating. How many of you have never heard this story before? People, raise your hand, because we love it that you're new to God's Word. How many of you? Yeah. You're going to love what happens next. What happens next, you are not going to expect. It's an amazing moment. One of our brothers back here already gave a little bit of it away. It's an amazing moment, okay? Before we get there, I want you to stand and greet 35 people and say, don't tell the ones you raised their hand. Don't tell them yet, because we're going to get there. All right?
Good morning.
God, we didn't sign up for this. We're in the middle of nowhere. GPS has dropped out. What do we do? And in that moment, Paul and Silas choose to do what Jesus commanded his disciples to do all those days, years ago. Jesus leaned into the disciples and said, when life gets tough and you don't know which way to go, remain in me. Now watch Paul and Silas' response. So good. About midnight, that's what usually happens. Paul and Silas were what? Praying. They were praying. What do you do when there's nowhere to go? You go to God. You say, God, I need you. I can't do this without you. They're praying, but this next part makes the next part's the harder part, okay? Praying is just like, oh, God, help. God, I need you. God, move. This next part is worship. The next part is, God, I love you in the midst of my pain. Jesus, I trust you in the midst of my suffering. Jesus, I believe you're on the throne when it seems like you're not. And they begin to sing hymns to God. They begin to worship Jesus in the midst of their pain. They begin to pour out their hearts to God. Right in the middle of that cell. And this next statement, this is a word from God for some of you sitting here today and listening online. For some of you today, you need to be reminded of this. For some of you today, you need to know this. For some of you today, you're going to find purpose in your pain right now. And this is what it says next. And the other prisoners were... When do people pay most attention to your life? When everything's going great? When your ship comes in, you got lots of money? Well, they actually come to you then, but do they really pay attention? Okay? When are people really, really looking at your soul? When are they really, really, really paying attention to your life and your actions? When are your family members, when are your friends really paying attention? They're paying attention when life crashes down around you and it seems there's nowhere for you to go. It's cancer, and everybody in your family is watching. Parents are getting divorced. Now all your friends at school are watching. You got that demotion at work. Now your entire team is watching. Things aren't going well for you. Everybody is watching. What's going to happen? How will they respond? Oh, they went to church. They said all the right things. They were so happy with God. Let's see how they respond now. Everybody's listening to Paul and Silas. Everybody in that jail is paying attention to what these men are doing. And suddenly, you know how God does it? Suddenly a massive earthquake. All their chains fall off. The gates are open. Everybody can run free. Everybody can run free, but they don't. They sit right there. Nobody moves. And the guard comes and is like, hey, he's about to take his life. The guard takes the sword. He's going to take his life. Read the story. You have to read this story. He's about to take his life, and Paul and Silas go, don't hurt yourself. We're all still here. And the jailer had to think to himself, why would they care about me? I'm their enemy. I was a part of hurting them. Why would they help me? And the other question is, why did the rest of the prisoners run? I mean, I can understand Paul and Silas are like, whoa! The other prisoners had to, if you were one of those prisoners, you'd be like, pew! Remember the cartoons with the feet, you know? You'd be gone. You scream on your way out, the struggle is real, baby! And they stay. Why are they staying? Because they've never seen two men beat within an inch of their life and come up praising Jesus. They'd never seen anything like that. They were in just as much amazement as the jailer. And in that moment, the jailer asked the question. The question that the girl kept shouting, the statement the girl kept shouting, "These men will show you the way to be saved." And in that moment, the jailer asked the ultimate question of life. "Gentlemen, what must I do?" He calls them sirs. "What must I do to be saved?" Paul and Silas say, "Believe and be baptized. Believe in the name of Jesus. And be baptized." And that night, the jailer and his entire family were baptized. You have no idea the impact of your life in this darkest hour. As a matter of fact, your darkest hour may cause someone else's sun to rise. And I did an amen on that this morning. That thing you're going through right now can have the greatest impact on people around you. It'll also have the greatest impact on you. It can change things in your life like you never, ever, ever thought possible. The Greek translation, the Greek understanding, if you dig into this word remain that Jesus uses, here's some of the words that are used: to abide, continue, to dwell, and I love this, to endure. So just take your stand and go, "God, I trust you. I don't understand. I don't know what you're up to, but I trust you. And I know that you're going to do something with this." And this theme is throughout the Bible. It's everywhere you turn in the Bible. Let's go to one more moment in the New Testament. Go to James chapter 1 and verse 2. One of my favorite passages in the New Testament. James chapter 1 and verse 2. And this is what James says. And when you read, if you've never read this before, when you read this first statement, you're going to be like, "That's crazy talk. That just makes absolutely no sense in the natural." This is what James says. James says, "Consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you fill in the blank, whenever you get that raise, when life goes well, you find your healing, you find your Mr. Right or your Mrs. Right. Consider it pure joy when things are going great in your life." That's not what James says. James says, "Consider it pure joy when you face trials of many kinds." The idea in the Greek language here is to be surprised by suffering. Consider it pure joy. Now, pure joy doesn't mean celebration. It's not like, "Woo! Thank you, God, may I have another." No, pure joy here is a quiet, a calm delight. Isn't that good? A calm delight. It's a moment where you go, "God, I don't understand, but I feel a peace that just makes no sense. God, I don't understand, but I have a sense of," I can't call it happiness because that's not what it is. It's deeper than that. There's like this joy inside me that I know you're going to do something with this. I know you're going to do something with this. And then he goes on, "It's so good." So rich, he says, "Because you know." He's like, "You know this, Jesus follower, you know this. You've experienced this, you've seen this in other people's lives. You know that the testing of your faith," and we all know this, trials put our faith on trial. Come on, trials put God on trial in our lives. You know that the testing of your faith produces what? Perseverance. You know that. And then he goes on, this is what he says next. "Let perseverance finish its work. Remain until God does what only God can do in the midst of your pain. Remain in him. Hold tightly to him because he's about to do something. He's up to something when it seems like it makes no sense. No. God's not absent. God is at work, always at work in us. Just let perseverance finish its work." I think what Jesus is trying to say to us today, he wants our hearts to hear, the Holy Spirit wants us to understand today, have a new perspective. When we're surprised by suffering, when the trials come along, let us have a new perspective. God, you're going to use this. You're going to do something with this. You're going to make something in my life that couldn't happen any other ways. But when the trials come, we want to check out. The trial comes, we want to quit, don't we? The trials come in our marriage, we want to hit the divorce button. We want to hit the sex button, the drink button, the overeat button, the shop till you drop button, the weed button. Those of you who don't know what that means, it's marijuana. Okay, you hit that button. The over-exercise button. The button to which I never found. I hear it's a curse for some. Some of you, when the pain hits, you hit the God ejection button. Didn't you? And now you find yourself here today, and you're not here by chance. And you hit the church objection button, and now you're listening online today because someone said, you got to check out this church. You know who you are. You're not listening by chance. God wanted a moment to slow your roll down long enough to remind you He's in love with you and He's up to something if you'll come back and trust Him. He's never stopped loving you. He's never given up. And then He says this, and on the surface it doesn't look real sexy. But this is what He says. So that you may be sure. And, you know, honestly, when you first see that, you're just like, really? Maturity? That's the payoff? Until you meet somebody who's really immature. Can I get it? Mm-hmm. And then you realize, yeah, maturity is a beautiful thing. Amen. Maturity is a needed thing. Maturity is what God is up to. You may be mature and what? Complete. Let this habit's working. That you may be complete and mature, not lacking anything. That you may bear fruit. Because you cannot bear fruit apart from the vine. Jesus is our lifeline. And everybody said, amen. This is what James wants us to get in our heart. Have you ever met a mature Christian? Have you ever met somebody who's really mature in their faith? They're convicting, kind of, aren't they? Yeah. They're kind of, you look at them kind of like you look at a rare animal in a zoo. Like, wow, look at that. They go through stuff and they just trust God. They're real. They're honest. It's amazing. And then you get to know them and you find this brutal story. You sit down and start talking to them and you find out they went through hell on earth. And everything crashed down around them. And they hung on to Jesus. And they developed this remaining faith that you just are in awe of. And you say, I want that. And Jesus said, then remain in me. No matter what comes your way, remain in me. That's what Sandy did. Sandy, in the midst of her trials, turned to the only one who could heal her brokenness. And this is part 2 of her story.
One of my coworkers at work said, you know what, you ought to go to Pure Heart. She goes, I think it would be a really good match for you. But at the time when I walked through the doors, there was Pastor Rachel with her grand smile that she has. And she said, hi, welcome to Pure Heart. Have you been here before? And I said, no, I haven't. She goes, well, I'm so glad you came. And it made me feel so welcome, not afraid. I was no longer scared. Pastor Dan had a sermon that reached my heart in all ways. I thought he was just talking to me. He had talked a little bit about going through divorce and the struggles of divorce and the pain of divorce. And I thought, God is real. He is really here with me right now. So the next Saturday, again, I came alone and I walked through those doors, and sure enough, there was Pastor Rachel there, and at this time she gave me a big hug and said, I am so glad you came back. And I sat in the back row again by myself, and I listened to Pastor Dan what he had to say, and for a second time he was talking to me. And at that point it was my turning point, that I knew that this is where I needed to be, that God led me here. God led me here to this church. God led me to hear the messages that Pastor Dan was saying. God led me to the arms of Pastor Rachel to put her arms around me. And I felt at home, and I felt peace, and I felt loved. I then decided that I'm going to reach out in my life and started getting involved, and I took the Move class. And now I feel that I am growing by leaps and bounds within the Word and in Pure Heart, with Pure Heart. Just most recently, we started the next class of being a table coach for the Starting Point class, pouring love and Pure Heart into my table partners has been a true joy. To be around other people and just discuss and learn the Word has been so exciting. I have brought other members to the class and got them involved, and I've got them involved in Pure Heart. It's just giving that love and sharing that forward and sharing the knowledge of walking like Jesus would walk. And having the mission out there for Pure Heart, a vision that is a part of Pure Heart and the family that is here that we have together. With God in my life, and the journey that I'm taking now towards God, becoming a member of Pure Heart Church has helped me extremely heal and learned that I can help others and let them know that it's okay and that you can survive and you will survive with the love of God and the grace of God in your heart. You can do it.
Give God a hand for saying So James, in James chapter 1, verse 5, he gives us this very practical step. It's not complicated today, friends. He says, if any of you lacks wisdom, this idea of wisdom is the idea of perspective. And when do we struggle with our perspective the most is when we're in those trials. He says, if any of you lacks perspective, you should what? Ask God. Do you know what blessed me the most about my son driving up to Prescott? Not that he made it there, and I was so proud of him for being able to navigate the roads and do all the things that he did. The thing that impressed me most is that when he got into a place where he didn't know which way to go, he called his father. He called his dad. He didn't try to figure it out on his own. He didn't try to suck it up in his pride. He dealt with it in humility. He said, Dad, I'm in the middle of nowhere, and I have no idea which way to go. He called home. And for some of you sitting here today, for the first time in your life, you need to call home and say, Jesus, I need you to show me which way to go. For some, it's your dedication of your life. For others, you're in the midst of a storm, and you just need to remain. You need to take a moment today and say, you know what, God, I don't understand what I'm going through. Today I'm making a decision in the midst of my pain. I know I've struggled, I know I've grumbled, I know I've complained, I know I've been angry. I know I've tried to hit the rejection button, but today, God, I'm going to take a stand. I'm going to say I'm going to believe in you. I'm not quitting, I'm trusting you. Because I know that you're going to do something in my life. I know you're going to do something in the lives of other people around me as I respond to you and hold on to you. And so what we're going to do today to end our service is something a little different than we normally do. In the backs of your chairs, you see these prayer request cards to the right. Would you take them out all around the room? Just take them out right now. You can grab one of those pens. Those of you in the front row, you can reach around and grab one of those cards. And we have had hundreds and hundreds of people do this already in the first two services. And what I want you to do today is I want you to write down, what is that thing that concerns you? What is it you're going through right now that you just don't understand? Write it down. And in just a moment, we go back into worship to end our service. I want you to go. I want you to bring it up to the cross. And I want you to lay it down. And then Pastor Tracy is going to come out and close our service in just a moment. But what is it? What is it you say, you know what, this is what I'm going through. Here's what I'm dealing with. I'm going to write it down. I'm going to take a bold step today. I'm going to step out from where I am. I'm going to come down front and say, Jesus, I believe in you. I'm going to hold on to the vine. I'm going to let you do in my life what only you can do in my life. I told you I was going to look at one verse in the Old Testament. Here's what the psalmist had to say in Psalms 138. This is so good. It says, in the day when I called, you answered me. And you strengthened me with strength in my inner self. Though I walk in the midst of trouble, you will revive me. Can I get a yes on that today? The Lord will perfect that which concerns me. Man, I love that statement. The Lord will perfect that which concerns me. The Lord will bring maturity and completeness in my life through that which troubles me. So beautiful. So when you're ready today, I love the song. It says, God, I look to you. You're where my help comes from. Give me vision. Give me wisdom. See things like you do. Let's worship together. When you're ready, bring those cards up to the cross. Some of you today made a decision to come to Christ. Would you write down today I receive Jesus. Today I rededicate my life to Christ. Would you do that today as well? Put those cards there.
Every one of these concerns, these burdens, these challenges are so important to God. So please, come up if you haven't done so. I know that we have a full prayer team that will be down here after the service. They would love to walk with you and pray with you about these challenges. So we would invite you to do that. If you accepted Jesus as your Savior, we want to walk with you as well. So somebody will meet with you in your seat. But there's a room, 522, across the patio and upstairs for somebody would really spend time to have a great conversation with you. If you're new here, we would love to have you fill out the guest card that is in the bulletin and drop that off in the information center because we want to become connected to you and build family here. Have a great service, guys.